Yo, welcome back to the KingdomCore Podcast.
Yo.
It's good to be back. I don't know why I keep saying that, even though this is technically our third episode back.
Yeah.
It's going to be our second, but it's our third that we've recorded. But it's good to be back. I'm grateful.
It's always good to be here on the KingdomCore Podcast.
It is. Today, we have a fun conversation with Mike Felker of Convictions, vocalist. We love Mike. We love Convictions around here. Coincidentally enough, Mike was our first ever guest.
First ever guest
podcast.
Second episode of this
ago.
podcast. Yeah, basically
Yes.
exactly 3 years ago when this releases. And man, I just looked at a couple clips of that podcast just before this.
Don't remind me.
We look like children.
I had no clue what I was doing. I mean, I still don't know what I'm doing, but I had even less clue back then.
I meant we old now, though.
Oh, we are old, man. We're so old.
Oh, man.
Dude, we get up at like 5 a.m. We go to bed at like 9. We're old.
You were clean shaven, and I haven't seen you clean shaven in so long.
Dude, it was like right after we started this podcast that I started growing my beard.
Yeah.
If you can even call it that. But
yeah, we're both on that same level of it's a beard, but it's
he's got some hair on his face.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway,
it was fun.
What are we here to do again?
We talked about the new Convictions record, The Fear of God.
Fear of God.
Album of the Year contender.
So good.
Right?
Yeah, I would definitely throw it in.
There's a lot of these coming out right now, though. Like, there's so many good records. It's amazing.
Dude, November is gonna suck for me putting together my top 50 list.
You gotta narrow it down. Narrow it down to like 30.
Nah, everyone likes it.
Yeah.
It's a KingdomCore tradition to do 50 and then not get album of the year posted until after January.
You'd like January.
It's tradition, man. Every December, I'm like, it's gonna be different. I'm gonna have time, and then I don't have time.
Yeah. I'm definitely keeping up to date with my list as much as possible.
That's cool.
Which
Chris and I have a shared Google Doc with every Christian metal and rock release like throughout the year.
Most,
and we just
there's some that we kind of leave off, but
yeah,
I want to actually say, because I haven't done it yet, and maybe you guys can let me know down in the comments and get a fire under my butt to do it. I was thinking that I might, for my own personal Patreon over at For the Rock, add the list as a perk for just any tier, like the $1.
Oh, you mean like
you can have access to view our list of all our releases that we track along.
Oh,
I thought it would just be. I mean, it's not that big of a thing, but like if you are always struggling to find new music and you just want to be up to date, I try to update it.
Isn't that why they follow us?
Yes, but I know that you're busy and I'm busy, and
I'm busy.
We are like
busy.
30 releases behind that we haven't actually shared.
We really are. That is actually true.
So if you're always wanting to be like,
dude, I haven't even posted Moth Altar yet. I'm so sorry. I love you guys. Go listen to Moth Altar. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Convictions.
Yes, that is true.
Wow, that one almost got away from us. Oh man,
yeah,
we love Convictions.
Convictions is amazing.
I said it before, I'll say it again. If you guys have not heard The Fear of God yet, go listen to it, pull up the lyrics, grab a box of Kleenex, because you will cry, and then turn this on.
Unworthy.
We are unworthy.
Hashtag upside down cross.
Mm-hmm. Not Unworthy, the deathcore band.
Oh,
not them.
Yeah.
We're just throwing out all the small band names.
Yeah. I mean, let's do it, man.
We don't have any reviews, guys. We still don't have any reviews. Go on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts and go write a review, and we will read it on air.
And we're not saying that because, I mean, when this releases, hopefully we will have a couple more. We are just recording these all before they come out, and
that's true.
We're still starving.
This is our third podcast in literally
a week.
In literally an 8-day time span. It's actually pretty crazy. And usually we get like 3 in like 2 months.
Yeah, the Bloodlines.
And now we don't have to record again for 2 months.
But no, we need to keep this going.
We'll try to keep this going.
September.
We would love to have, dude, if we had like a bi-weekly pace, or even just twice a month. I don't care if it's at the beginning and the end.
I'm ready to reveal it.
Cool.
End of September, my wife and I are going away on vacation, so we will be gone for a week. So we'll try and time it so that something comes out kind of right before or during that time.
I don't think that's the thing you wanted to announce.
That's not the thing I want to announce, but September's going to be busy for us.
He's announcing vacation.
It should be all confirmed. Like literally tomorrow is when we know for sure. By the time this comes out, be long overdue. My wife and I bought a new house.
Yeah.
So our first house, it's been a long time coming. We can't thank our grandpa enough that we've lived in this house with for a couple of years now. And all the help that he's provided just to let us save up. And
this might be the last or second to last episode in that room with that background, with that wallpaper.
Maybe. Yeah, I think we'll probably have a couple more episodes, but yeah, it's going to be close.
A studio.
Wow. I mean, it's going to be
well, you know what I mean. Chris will have a room to record a podcast.
Yeah, we'll have a room. It might, I'm going to get rid of that. That's my old For the Rock logo. That's long outdated, but I'm definitely gonna have the wall flag. I might actually make a custom For the Rock wall flag to have in there. We'll see how it goes. But
maybe you'll finally use that green screen.
Maybe. I think I didn't quite understand how complex it is to make it look good. So, but I'll have more room to pull it out because in this space, you know what? I don't care. It's a little messy, but this is tight. Like there's my messy desk, but there's like no room to do
Chris,
anything.
people are listening to this on Spotify now. Well, they can't see
this is my elaborate ruse to get you to go over to my YouTube channel and watch the video. But yeah, thank you all for watching and listening.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
We love you guys.
We really do. And you know what? That's been enough banter. Let's hop into this interview with Mike.
Here's our interview. Dude, it's good to have you back on here, man. I don't know if you guys have been listening to the KingdomCore podcast. You will know that, and I'm not sure if you know this, Mike. You were our first ever guest we had on this podcast 3 years ago.
Oh my! Was it 3 years?
3 years.
August 3 years
24th was when the episode released. I just have it up right now.
Oh my gosh!
2021.
No. Just kidding.
I know.
It's a different lifetime ago at this point.
For real. I feel like a different person.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me back, man. It's good to catch up with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Would have had you back on sooner if you would have dropped some music.
Man, listen. It's all good. We're back.
We're back. So, dude, just have to congratulate you. The Fear of God, it's out now. It's been out, 1 week, 2 weeks now. Absolutely incredible album. I don't think anybody expected anything less. So I really just wanted to congratulate you on that. You guys hit a huge milestone last week, 100K monthly listeners on Spotify. How does that feel?
It's surreal. And I don't want to be like, it's all about the numbers and but like, behind the scenes, we set little goals and milestones, and we've never hit 100K. And we have a message board for people that follow us on our Instagram. And when it happened, I had to film myself. I was outside of Chipotle, borderline about to cry. I'm like, we did it, you guys! Thank you so much. It still feels like it hasn't happened or it hasn't soaked in yet. And I was interviewed the other day, and they were asking about what's your final statement, or what do you want people to walk away from the album with? And I was like, I'm still processing. It doesn't even feel like it's out yet. So
yeah, sorry, Sean, you can't ask that at the end.
No, okay.
I won't. Scratching that off my list.
That's amazing. Well, do you want to fill us in, kind of leading off of your guys' previous record and a lot of band member changes, and just kind of where did the ball start rolling with the Fear of God?
It's been in development for close to 3 years now. I want to say pretty much right when Stigmata dropped, which was just a standalone single. One of our founding members stepped down. No bad blood, everything's cool. But
love you, Josh.
Love you, Josh. Miss you, man. we pretty much just, Zach and I, we were like, let's just book studio time, and that'll kind of put a fire under our butt. And the last, I would say, like 2 or 3 years, or however long ago that single came out, we've just been developing our lineup and writing for this new record. So yeah, it's been a big effort.
Yeah. So it basically all started after you guys wrote Stigmata.
Yeah, like it never really stopped. And on the last record, I spent a lot of time kind of like rethinking and reconfiguring how I write music and how I want to share stories. So like the big challenge for me lately is just finding the right stories and subjects, and that's probably like the hardest part. So like I'm never really off the clock, I guess, when it comes to songwriting. So some of the songs were like written like as close as like 2 months or so, like from the album being finished. So it's been like a never-ending thing. Yeah. And so like even now I'm like, so I'm working on new stuff, so that there's never off the clock.
That's awesome. So when you guys released Stigmata, I know it is a standalone single. Did you guys release it with the intention of it being standalone single, or did you guys think it'd make an album? And then if so, like, what was the reasoning leaving it off of The Fear of God?
We've been kind of playing with the idea of like, maybe, you know, if this record does well, we may include some of those older songs in like a deluxe with maybe some new music, but like I don't want to. It's way too early for me to say that.
Right.
But no, I think Stigmata we did Stigmata in a song called Supernova consecutively. Like it was like we'd have like 3 days or something to put those songs together. So during those 2 songs alone, like we were kind of having like a conversation with our audience, kind of reflecting on like the critiques that we were getting from I Won't Survive. Are you guys still a Christian band? Like, what's up with all these stories you're telling? And I'm like, what are you talking about? So like, it was really frustrating. So I was like, let's just put the most like faith forward song we can and like try and like tell a story with that. And
then everyone thought you guys were demonic.
Listen,
win with these Christian guys.
They're too much. That was kind of like what kind of kickstarted The Fear of God, in my opinion, because it was like, okay, I can kind of see where this next record is going to go. And then with like that second song, Supernova, that was Zach and I's like first discussion on if and how we want to talk about the passing of his father with the song Hurts Like Hell. So these ideas have already kind of been with us. It's just like how and when do we want to execute them, and obviously like be respectful to the subject, you know, who we're writing for and so forth. So yeah, it was just kind of like looking into a window of what's to come.
Gotcha. Okay. And then so from there, like that dropped, and then you guys started writing the album. Did you have a concept for the album when you guys like started writing it? Where did The Fear of God come from? All of that.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, I'm still kind of processing everything. Like it's not wholeheartedly a concept record. Like there are like common themes that play throughout the record. But no, like I wanted to kind of just continue the inertia of I Won't Survive. I felt like we found something special with that record. And so like using that same songwriting outline, I guess, like tackling stories and retelling these events and these people's lives was kind of something I've been wanting to stick with. But how do I merge that with like the overarching like background, I guess, of societal downfall or spiritual warfare and where we fall in the Christian music spectrum and how does that translate into like a secular audience and stuff. So I wanted to kind of touch down on some biblical themes and stories and how they kind of intersect with some of these people's personal events that we wrote about.
Right.
Like I said, I'm still trying to like process and verbalize everything. Like it's so fresh to me.
Yeah, I think songs like Hurts Like Hell sounds to me like a song that could have been on I Won't Survive in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
like musically, it's a little bit different because obviously you guys have had a little bit of changes with the way the guitars were written and all that kind of stuff, but it definitely thematically would fit, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And like that song is very similar to a song. I don't want to say like lyrically or musically, but I feel like it's the linear experience of that song is similar to the song on our last record called Last Cell.
Right. I was just going to say that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that record was just kind of like, it was a big transitional period for the band. Like, even though, like, Josh is no longer with us, Josh had a heavy hand in the new direction of the band. And so we basically kind of took that and then with our new members and team build off of it because I felt like we found something special.
Speaking of the new members, like I don't know how much you want to talk about them or introduce them at all because I know they're not here right now. From what I can gather, especially when you guys started playing live all together as a band with the new members, like it seems like you guys have had a really solid connection and group. Like from the outside looking in, it seems like there's a really good dynamic going on there.
That's really good to hear. Like when you're arguing over who gets when you're arguing who gets to sleep in what bunk every night, it's cool. No, they're a good group of guys. What's cool too is everybody in the band that's with us now has kind of been in the background, helping out and being a part of the Convictions journey. Like Pat, our new lead guitar player, he's a producer and he helped put together some of our older material way back from our record Hallowed Spirit Violent Divide. He was
wow.
Yeah. So
he's a producer of that?
Wasn't the producer, but we went he's from the same town and we've grown up in the same band, so a lot of like our early demos and stuff, like we would kind of work out with him. So he kind of already understood, the ethos of the band.
Yeah.
And then Jake, our bass player, he's from a band called Casino Kings, and they've played so many shows with us. And our drummer Zach, he booked their first tour. So like he's always kind of been in our circle. And same thing with Quentin, our singer guitar player. He came from a band called the Harbor Divide, which is still active. Check them out. Same thing. Played a lot of shows. And Quentin's older brother, Tyler, was Conviction. Like, I want to say our first merch guy. So, like, Tyler,
for real?
Quentin's older brother, would come out on tour with us and help out in the early days. So it's kind of like we're trying to keep it all in the family, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. That's cool. So, I mean, you guys have been through a lot of member changes, like over the last, honestly, like your entire stint in the band. How's it feel to finally have like a solid core group of 5 guys and to just sort of have that kind of stability to just, now all you got to do is focus on music?
Yeah, I mean, like we've always like focused on the music. Like
right.
Zach and I.
Not to say that you didn't. That
like now you can start caring about it. No,
it's one very big thing to not worry about anymore.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any ill will towards anybody that was or was ever a part
totally.
of it. It's actually
absolutely.
It's kind of weird. Like we all get together all the time. Like Josh, you were just talking about. John, our old bass player, who stepped down for medical reasons.
He films all your music videos, right?
John films all our music videos. We just had a barbecue for him for his kidney transplant anniversary, and Josh was there. We had a handful of the new guys with us. Tommy, our old guitar player, we're in a Star Wars group together. We get together every Wednesday and talk about Star Wars.
Oh my goodness! Seriously?
Yeah.
Chris is like, give me the invite.
Okay, let's talk about the Acolyte now.
Yes. This is what all my interviews turn into. I'm like, let's talk about Star Wars. What really matters.
No, dude, because you had the that really sick Mandalorian cosplay stuff that you were doing.
Yeah. I spent $13 on that costume.
That's amazing.
Bucks. Yeah, it's just like tinfoil that I got from the Dollar Tree and duct tape. That was pretty much.
That's awesome.
And some creativity. Yeah.
Okay, well, low down.
Yeah.
Collate, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm kind of in this direction.
Okay.
The villain was my favorite part. He was so cool. I really, really liked that villain. I liked the EU, Star Wars EU, like Easter eggs, like the whiplash lightsaber.
Yeah.
There was cool stuff, but it was corny and kind of political. I don't know. It was kind of weird.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Hopefully one day Disney will still use your music in a film or something.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
That'd be wild. So cool. I wanted to ask, so you talked earlier about how how your writing style on I Won't Survive kind of changed how you started writing for this record, and you guys started writing about stories. Where do you find the people to write these stories about? Are they people that you already know and you're like, I know that person went through this, let me ask them if they'd be willing to talk about this? Are they friends of friends type of thing, or do you guys find them on social media?
No, with this new record, it was all pretty much people that I knew face to face. It wasn't.
Okay, gotcha.
And it was never something forced. Like, hey, guy,
right.
you gotta
absolutely.
You gotta tell me about that. No, I guess the only person that I don't see on a day-to-day basis was buddy of mine, CJ, who we actually wrote a song called "The Price of Grace," inspired by. So we did a sequel, I guess, to that called Swan Song.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask
okay.
if that was a sequel or not.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay. So yeah, take us through, because I think everyone listening knows the story of CJ and knows that song. So I'd love to hear just the theme of that song and how you guys what made you guys want to do a part 2. What is different about part 2?
Yeah, well, with The Price of Grace, I mean, that's our biggest song we've ever made,
right.
And it kind of took us all by surprise, and that was one of the first songs that I had written from this new direction that I've taken as a writer, and that kickstarted a whole like mission for the band. So like all the tours that we did following that release, pretty much all were like revolving around mental health and speaking up and addressing that in our audience, because it was just such a prevalent thing. We'd have so many people approaching us, sharing their experiences with suicide and mental health crisis and stuff. So I didn't want it to be forced, but because it was such a big part of our journey, and CJ was like, his story like inspired so many people. I wanted to follow up with him. Like we talked about the 5 stages of grief throughout that song, but I was really curious on how and where he is now. And so with his permission, I did basically another interview, and he basically told me, like not a lot has changed. Like he still feels the loss, still feels the pain, still feels the grief. And I think reading through the lines, I think he wanted to say like, that's okay. Like it's okay to feel these things. And, dealing with that type of pain, of course it's immeasurable, but it's kind of what brings a lot of people together. And I felt like just because there isn't some flashy light at the end of the tunnel, like I still feel like that can bring comfort to some people. And so I felt like it was appropriate for the new record.
I love that. That's great. I think it's a great song. I really wanted to know, how do you conduct these interviews? What are those like? What's your process?
Well, it's kind of similar to what we're doing here. I kind of have like a set list of questions that I'll go through. And what's great is a lot of the people that, pretty much everybody, luckily, that I've worked with, are very willing and encouraging to share their stories. And so it's like there's nothing off the table, which is really refreshing. So I can ask probing, difficult questions. I always make sure to give that person, hey, with all due respect, tell me no. Like shut me down. Like if it's something you don't want to, we don't have to go there. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Being as respectful and empathetic towards them is mission number one. But No, like it's crazy. Like a lot of people really open up and they get behind like what we're doing and the big picture of helping people really. So I'll have a list of questions, and it's become kind of like a journalism interest of mine. I really enjoy better understanding people and their experiences, and then using that as a backdrop for our songwriting. It's changed everything for me. I'm loving it.
Right.
That's really cool.
Do you go into the interviews kind of knowing a rough idea of what you guys are going to be talking about, like their story that you're going to kind of potentially theme a song around?
Yeah. So basically what I'll do, and I don't want to control the narrative. Like that's super important. But much like a film or a movie, there's usually some form of a story outline, an introduction, a build-up, a crisis, a downfall, and then a rising conclusion. That's every movie's like that, pretty much, or it may be flipped, and you're watching like an action movie, and there's a car chase in the beginning, or a bank heist, and then it goes back to the beginning and how they ended up in this situation and how they got themselves out and so forth. So I have a good grip on storytelling, and that's kind of what I try to do to fulfill an arc. But some of these songs don't have that full arc. Like, for example, Swan Song or Waking Nightmare, there's not everything's okay now, it's all good, we can go home. That's not real life, but there is a big drive for me, like to try and find something that people can connect with in a positive way, usually in the conclusions of our song.
Gotcha. To piggyback off of that, you brought up Waking Nightmare, which I was going to bring up. My favorite song on the record. Absolutely incredible. Just moved me. Something about being a new father brought me to tears. I'm not an emotional guy. I almost never cry. And when I listened to the first time, read it, just thinking about my son, my 2-month-old son, definitely brought some tears to me. Just trying to empathize with like what someone who experienced this must have to go through. Yeah. Take us through that song a little bit, because it's just I feel like you did such an incredible job of really pinpointing that grief and how you feel, the anger you feel, the shame, the regret, the guilt. Yeah. And then not only that, like at the end, there is a tiny glimmer of hope, and I love how you ended off with that.
Yeah. So this is a great example of what we just talked about. So I don't want to air out like someone's dirty laundry, especially.
Absolutely
like this.
Not. Yes.
But it was somebody that was close to me, a friend, and they just kind of disappeared. And where did this person go? And are they okay? And then just suddenly reappeared. And she opened up to me and told me about her experience. And I don't ever try to like listen to a friend and I'm like, oh, that's a song right there. Like, let's write this down. It came to me like quite a bit of time afterwards, like after processing and really like looking at it from a distance. And I felt like a tug on my heart, and like, I'm spiritual. So I felt like God was telling me like, maybe this is something that we could try to tackle together. So I approached her and I told her, hey, like, I think I'd like to share your story if you're willing and open to it. And she was so like on board, and I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, please don't, like, say no, like, no pressure. I don't want to push, I don't want to put pressure on you here, but no. Like, I want to share this. And she, I guess, had done some journaling throughout her experience to express herself and to get through that. And she had sent me books of text messages that she sent to herself explaining how she felt. And I did a lot of like late nights and a lot of hard work, like making sure that we can pull directly from the messages and journal entries that she provided me with. So a lot of it is straight from what she said. And just trying to articulate it and trying to put together a cohesive storyline, I guess. And like as a man, especially too, I don't want to. That's how you felt, you know what I mean? I don't want to do that. Like that's not appropriate. So it was a big honor for sure.
Do you, when you're conducting these interviews and you start well, first off, do you guys have music before you start writing out some lyrics, or when you're conducting these interviews, do different lines like creatively come to you where you're like, I don't care what the song sounds like, we have to include this line or this set of lines?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, typically, if it's something like Waking Nightmare, I already have this already set up for me, as far as how I want to, to put it together. But no, usually I will have the music first, and it's really important to make sure that the feelings that you're getting just from the music match, the emotion. It's really hard. I can't tell you how hard it is to try and shoehorn, a super angry, menacing song lyrically on top of something that's like a little bit more melancholy or, you know what I mean? So yeah, it goes both ways. Usually I like to have lyrics and music written or lyrics put together first. But there's songs like, The Fear of God that the music was first, and I was just kind of letting the music guide me. And I was like, wow, this makes me feel this. Four Horses is that. I was listening just the instrumental in the gym. I remember exactly where I was. I was doing Butterflies, and it was the everyone will die. And I'm like doing a pump. And I'm like, that would be the craziest thing to say. Like, how could I say that and still have like a Christian undertone? And then I was like, well,
everyone will die. Like
Book of Revelation, and I'm like, okay, and then, it all kind of
that's cool.
Starts to come together. Yeah, so it's hard to predict, but usually I like to have a direction before having the music.
Leading up to the album release, like obviously you guys spent the time to kind of like drip release all the singles out. Was most of the album done at the time that you started kind of releasing, like I guess Sleeping Lotus was the first track?
We had the whole album done before that. There was a lot of strategy, and I stayed up so many nights the last year, like trying to rack my brain around this and which order and what are the videos going to look like and the merch and it was all pretty much good to go. It's actually funny though, the music videos and some of the artwork has like kind of been like, I don't want to say last minute, like I'm not upset about anything that we've gotten back, but it's just been like, because we're so DIY, like a lot of it is like, sometimes it's gotten up to like the night before and we're like, we got to get this together. Like, let's go.
Those deadlines catch up on you.
Yeah. And with our like very small fixed budget, we have to like be very mindful of, what goes where and when.
Right. I think you guys did a great job, like, or whoever was doing the artwork for you guys, because throughout all the single releases, keeping that same essentially font for the titles and like coloring, like everything kind of matches, and then the way it all ties into the final album cover, I think it's cohesive, but like the album cover looks just that much more complete in a way.
Yep, it was all part of the plan. No, a lot of careful choreography there, but we teamed up with an art department, an art group.
It was the Bramlets, right?
Yeah, they're called Quiet Strength. The band, shout out the Protest. They work incredibly well together. The brothers, and they went above and beyond to make sure that we got what we wanted. So
they're really good guys. And Sean's most recent KingdomCore shirt was actually designed by them.
Oh, really?
Cool. Yeah. And
that's great.
We
shout out to those
kind
guys.
of have something in the work with them, but that'll be something later on the podcast.
More details on that later. Talk us through the album art. Chris and I were talking about it earlier. I've got a pretty clear idea on what I think it is. Chris kind of agrees. But I know I saw some chatter online. Oh, what's his artwork? Is it Christian? You guys always get that question. I think you guys just need to like embrace that. Have a shirt that says like, "Are you a Christian band?" or something like that.
That would be so good.
It
all started with the Unworthy shirt.
Right. Well, that's kind of like, yeah, that's our contribution to like being a Christian metal band. There's a saying, it's like a sheep or wolf in sheep's clothing. Well, we're kind of like the flip of that. It's like a sheep in wolf's clothing. So it's like we sound and look and present ourselves in a very metal way. But yeah, there's something under the surface there. I need to be more prepared for these, but there's a comedian that explains our artwork perfectly.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is it Pete Holmes?
I think it is.
Is it the nothing coming from, or something coming from nothing?
That's super funny, but yeah, so it's in that same bit when he's talking about the road manager for AC/DC, and he's talking about, see, I want to be ready here. Yeah, okay. I got it in front of me here. We're going to do this together.
Is it Pete Holmes? Was I right?
Yeah, you were.
Okay. Dude, that whole entire set is so good.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
I don't know if I've ever heard of this.
So, yeah, he's like one of like the few like actually funny, clean comedians.
Yeah.
He kills me. Yeah, I don't have the script in front of me. We can probably circle back to it. But basically the idea was like, he's talking about AC/DC's road manager and how this guy like somehow summed up God to him and he became a believer, maybe, or I don't really remember the setup, but he was saying like all the unknowns, all the uncertainties, all the mysteries of the universe is like us taking a sheet and putting it over that, and it becomes a silhouette of a man, and that is God, basically. And there's been like a lot of artists that have used that imagery where it's basically like a sheet that's in a human silhouette, and then there's just vastness of the universe behind it, and like that is God. So I was up late one night just cracking up over this special, and I was like, wait a minute, that makes way too much sense. And I'm like, I like that. And then I was like, what would that look like? And then that's kind of where we kind of took the artwork direction. And then, yeah, everything as far as the single art and stuff, it all just kind of flushes it out and kind of makes it look like it's all within the same universe or something. And I don't know when this is coming out, but Friday we're going to have a music video. It's all like green screen, but it looks like we're actually in the world that we created with the artwork. So
that's sick.
Yeah.
And
so
is it for the fear of God?
It is, yeah.
Yes. Oh, let's go.
I'm so excited to see that.
So yeah, we try to like world build
that song
with that.
deserves a music video.
Heck yeah. I'll text it to you right now. I know I should be podcasting with you. But
I'll watch this after.
So did you had the cover art for the album done prior to the singles? Is kind of the
that was one of the first order of business. Yeah.
So that makes it. That's what, like 6 songs now with music videos. Are you guys gonna do a music video for every song?
We're trying. Yeah, there's gonna be. There's more.
That's peak marketing, man. In 2024.
Yeah, and expensive.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I just saw like literally 3 seconds of it, and yeah, I'm sold. I'm gonna have to react to that. That's gonna be sick.
Cool. But yeah, it was created to like look like we're in the artwork, like we're in its own thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Chris has been talking about the singles. Let's talk about Sleeping Lotus. I want to know when you guys wrote this, were you like, yes, I think this can be like the lead single? What caused you guys to make it the lead single? And tell us about the song.
Man, okay. So that song was like, I think the first song that we actually recorded for the new record.
Okay.
Yeah, it was written probably 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is kind of like my personal experience with restlessness, like searching for purpose, looking for that spiritual awakening in the midst of like just overwhelming anxiety and defeat that I constantly feel. A lot of that came off the back of my tour in ABR, just like living on top of the world and then going back into the dark warehouse where I work, and it's just dark and damp and there's no lights, there's our windows, there's no clocks on the wall. It's brutal. So I'm like just doing hard labor all night. And I know a lot of people can relate to this where you feel like you're kind of stuck in this loop.
and you feel in your heart, and you know that you have this like potential to contribute to the world, and that you were created for so much more than maybe your given circumstance. And that's something I wrestle with a lot. And the idea of like a sleeping lotus, so like the flower itself, like I just learned about this when we're writing it, but the flower, it blooms every day. So like throughout the night, it'll like retract into its like seed form or whatever in a bog. So it's like literally under like mud and dirt, and then it'll rebloom every day. And it was just kind of like, I was like, oh, that's a cool way to visually share how we feel, like where it's just kind of like you're just trapped, under the dirt, under the mud, under the circumstances you're in, and you want to bloom. Yeah. So that was the first thing that we put out. It was also the first song that we had Quentin singing on, and it was just kind of like everything was just so fresh and exciting, and I felt like it was a good representation of what you can mostly expect from the record. So that was, I think, the big reasoning behind that.
Yeah, I think it's actually low key. Like, it's not my favorite song, but I think it's one of those ones. As soon as I replay the album, because I've heard it like 5 or 6 times at this point, just after The End Is Nigh, which is kind of like an intro track, like it's just over a minute long, but then it like just kicks into Sleeping Lotus, and it's just like so fast. It's like it's the perfect intro, like
it's kind
of the album.
Wake up.
It is. It really is. Oh, I love that. I wasn't gonna bring it up just because I know we're talking about Convictions, but you brought it up before, you getting to tour with ABR. Maybe a lot of people are new to Convictions, new to you, they don't know. Would you talk a little bit about what you got to do? And after that, I do want to ask some questions about, like, you talked about coming home from that and then having to, going from filling in for Jake from ABR to working in a warehouse. I'd love to hear a little bit more of that, and just like how you worked through maybe this feeling of maybe I peaked too soon. Like, I'm sure you probably, maybe, and I might be assuming here, so forgive me if I'm wrong, because I know myself, if I did that, I would probably deal with thoughts of like, will I ever like reach a mountaintop like that again? Correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's challenging for sure. Like, I even told them when I got back together with them for Christmas Burns Red, Convictions played the following year. I was like, man, this is bittersweet. Like I'm happy and this is great. But obviously, like, there's some conflicting feelings. But overall, like, it's been like just a great experience, and I'm grateful for it. And I've been able to keep in touch with most of them, and it's different. Like, you would think, like, coming from that and then maybe playing like a smaller show, like I finished out with the ABR tour. I did like it was like a small coffee shop, and there was like maybe 20 people there, and like you would look at a situation like that and be like, I'm done, I'm never doing this again, like boo-hoo. But like, no, I had a great show and it was fun. Like, wow, like I really do love this, whether it's 20 people or 5,000 people. Like, I still just really like, this is what I love to do, and I don't care. I mean, I care, but like, I don't. I'm not looking at like numbers like that. I'm looking at like the people that I'm able to share, my music with and experiences with. So, it's definitely humbling for sure. But I think I'm taking it in stride, and I'm grateful. And if I never reach that climax again, like that, yeah, that'd be a bummer. But I still get to do what I love, and that's enough for me right now, at least. So that's a win.
Yeah, that's a great
That's
outlook.
awesome. I love that. And I want to apologize. I didn't mean to project anything. I didn't want to like say like you're feeling ungrateful. I realized in the middle of me asking that, I'm like, Sean, shut up.
Hey, now you're washed up.
All the time.
That's how I meant for it to come off, I swear.
No, you're good. You're good. No, it's all good.
Did you have any people like in the near future, like after you had done that tour, did you see new fans coming out to the shows that were like, I saw you with August Burns Red, and that's why I'm here? Like,
yeah. Like, I get it like every show we play. It's crazy. Like,
so
I'm like, wow, like,
so
how many people came to that tour? Yeah, like, no, it's a lot.
I mean, it's ABR. Like,
yeah, it's really cool. And Yeah, I've formed some like really cool relationships with their fans that became Convictions fans or just like close friends of mine. So yeah, it's just been nothing but wins.
We've pretty much gone through like over half the album song wise. I'd love to talk about Crucible. I feel like online I'm seeing that one being the fan favorite, definitely a favorite of mine. Just a heater, just heavy the whole time. Talk to us about that song.
It's such a sleeper.
It's one of the lowest streamed ones, but it
is it. Yeah. No, that's
the second lowest stream.
Dude, that breakdown is so good. It's probably my favorite breakdown on the album.
That video, the Tom and Jerry one you made, is so funny. I was doing something really important too when I got it, and I was like, I like broke character, and I'm like, hey, shut up! Look at this is funny. Like I was like losing it. It was so bad. Yeah, no, that cracked me up. But
I love that.
No, that song's a sleeper. I'm not choosing favorites or least favorites on the record. Like they're all like your children, but like that was the one that I felt like I don't really think about a lot. Like it was just kind of like I really like it, but it does have significant weight. Like there was a lot of thought and intention behind the lyrics, but yeah, no, just kind of a sleeper. I didn't really expect it to take off like it did, and I'm pumped for it. And I got
that means you got to play it live.
Yeah, no, I'm down. I think that would go over really well. And that song was a lot of fun for me too because I got to experiment vocally with some new techniques on that. So I think that could be an early indication of where I may go vocally. I don't know. But we'll see.
That's something that we were
so excited when you said that.
Perfect segue. I was literally talking with Sean before this. Like your vocal range on this record just exceeded everything that I've heard from you before. Was this just kind of years of practice, or did you really just you're like, I need to push myself to go in like a slightly different direction and experiment a bit more? Because there's so many of the super high like screams, and then like there's the low growls, and it's just not that you had like a monotone scream before, but I just find that there's such a variety in the range now.
And to add on to that real quick, just for a little bit of more appreciation, I got a comment of someone thinking that Christian Roche from Diamonds to Dust was a guest vocalist on The Fear of God, and I had to tell him, nope, that's Mike.
No, I'm friends. I'm really good friends with him.
So I think that's a huge compliment because I think he's one of the most incredible vocalists in the scene.
Yeah.
So if someone mistakes you for him, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, that's super cool. Funny you say it too. I'm going to be on a new Diamonds to Dust song.
Let's go.
I think for me, like there's certain areas like vocally where I have a lot of admiration for other vocalists. Like the deathcore community is just like so foreign to me. And I'm like, wow, like they're so technical and there's so much going on in that world that I want to challenge myself towards. And I'm really proud of like the things I've learned. But I think a lot of it came off the back of the ABR tour again, where like I was really proud of my performance on that run, but like coming home from that, I was like, okay, like I want to do more now, and I want to really like step my game up. And then shortly after that, I became a vocal teacher. So now that I'm working with all kinds of people with their screaming, it pushes me too, because there's some people that have special needs they want to learn, or things they want to pick up on, and it pushes me to learn more and figure out how to put these things together. So. Yeah, I think a lot of that I did for my students, and just to push myself and to kind of tip my hat to the deathcore community.
Sweet. So cool. How many students do you have? Because you seem to be posting about your students all the time. Has it become like almost like a part-time job for you?
Yeah. And it fluctuates. Like, I have some people that are very dedicated, and they have a certain schedule that we work around if they're getting ready for an audition or going to the studio or just doing it for fun. I have all kinds of people that I work with, and it's been really great for me just to kind of pass the torch in a way, and kind of like I can kind of play my part in like metalcore conservation, just keeping it going. And some of these students are really young, and it's like, dang, like they have a bright future, and I'm really excited for them.
Sweet.
So it's really cool to see, like, I might be the first person to see this guy scream before he goes off and becomes the next big band, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's really special. And yeah, like it's given me a lot of freedom being off the road to spend more time on Convictions and stay within the industry. And I've been able to get all kinds of cool work writing for other artists and collaborating and having more of a heavy hand in the music industry than working in a dark warehouse all night.
I love that.
That's so cool. What's next for Convictions? Like, what do you guys have on the horizon? Like, obviously, I'm assuming you guys are probably planning a tour and to tour this album a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that would be the next big move. We're working a lot behind the scenes right now. There's hopefully some really big opportunities. I have to be vague on this, which stinks, but I did post in our Convictions like Instagram group. You guys have those for KingdomCore.
Yeah, the broadcast channel.
The broadcast channel. Yeah, I should know that. Okay, so our broadcast channel, I put out like basically like a really vague blanket. Hey guys, like we have some opportunities. Like we could really use some prayer, and we're really hoping things work out. So there could be some really big things on the horizon for us. It's just kind of hard to say right now. But with the support that we've had and the streams that we've been racking up, like I feel like it's looking pretty promising. We're planning on going back over to the UK and Europe with Confessions of a Traitor.
Oh,
Nice.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we're stoked on that. It's
I love
cool
that.
it's a logistical nightmare, but
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
we're trying to get our visas and all that sorted out. So
Oh man.
I can't really promise that right now. We're not. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have something set up for like a headliner album tour. It's just hard to say right now. We're still trying to figure things out.
Totally. I wanted to ask, you guys just got back from Rock Against Traffic in California a couple of weeks ago. How was that? Talk to us about your experience there, how you guys got on that bill.
Yeah, it would have been better if you were there, but it was.
It definitely would have been better if I did not move away.
Or the baby, right then.
Yeah.
No, it was surreal. I almost had like borderline imposter syndrome because I was just kind of surrounded by like people I really look up to, and I felt like, man, like what am I doing here, kind of thing.
You were the vocalist of A.B. Harford.
I get that, and that was imposter syndrome. We got set up with a good buddy of ours who's been helping behind the scenes. His name's Trevor.
Love you, Trevor.
He sings for his band.
The Hurt.
Shout out. He put together that show with Holy Name, Running Against Traffic, and invited us out there. And so we just did a fly-out date, and it was crazy because I got to. I was asked to be a part of their like VIP meet and greet, and I'm just kind of standing there. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just standing there, and they had Ryan from Demon Hunter there, and he's standing next to me. I really look up to him. I've listened to him since I was really young, and then I have Tommy from Holy Name, and I grew up with a Sleeping Giant poster in my bedroom wall. So I'm just kind of like sandwiched between two guys I really respect and grew up with. And I was asking questions in this Q&A, and I'm just like, man, this is so trippy, and I can't break character. I got to stay in the game, but I'm like, what? This is cool, man. And getting going to sing with them, that was really special.
You got to play your feature They See, right?
Sweet.
Right. Yeah.
How'd it feel to finally get to do that?
It was scary. I only had one rehearsal, and it was like a sound check, and I messed it up, and so I was like, oh great, like this is going to be tough. I was basically like performing 3 times that night because I had the sound check / rehearsal with them. I had my set, and then I had to go back up and do it again.
Okay.
And it was just I don't know. I don't think this is a really big deal. I hope it's not. But Backstage, Brooke from Impending Doom, he was back there, and he was getting ready to go do his feature, and he had his phone like held up to his ear like this, like going through the song, like rehearsing backstage. And I was too. I didn't even know like he was doing that. So I'm pacing, like going over my parts, and then I like walk around the corner and I see him. He's sitting there and like we like lock eyes, and I'm like, are you? And he was like, are you? And I'm like, we're doing the same thing. And like it was like, I don't know, it was just like really funny, and like just going over there and talking to him, and we were talking about our vocal techniques, and I was showing my admiration towards him, and he was saying some really encouraging, nice things about my vocals. So it was just like such a trip, man. I'm just like,
that's so cool,
soaking it all up. It was a really great experience. We got put up by this really cool band. They're called Lotus.
I love Doulos.
Okay, so you know them, yeah.
Oh yeah.
They need more. They need some love.
They're so good.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about those guys. They picked us up. They took care of us. They fed us. They really looked after us. Yeah, those guys are incredible.
Because they're from LA or that.
Yeah,
I'm not super familiar with all the different areas.
Me neither. That's why I learned Riverside. And I say all the time.
Riverside,
must be that Riverside. Yeah. Okay.
We're using Riverside. What do you know?
Yeah,
that's terrible.
That's funny.
That's awesome though. Yeah, that's definitely a band that needs some more people to check them out.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like, what are your favorite memories recording this? Any good like stories from writing? Any good like podcast material?
Yeah. So we broke it up into like sections. So I went to the. It's we recorded our record with Lee. He plays guitar for Hollow Front, and so he has like a home studio.
Oh, is that Lee
Albrecht? Yeah.
Albrecht. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we would just crash at his place and record at his studio, and he's got this like awesome sunroom, and it's just kind of like his studio's like, or house is like sandwiched in the like a cul-de-sac, but it's like heavily wooded, so it's kind of like you're in a cabin basically. Like
that's cool.
Yeah, so the vibes are great, but he's got the sunroom, and that was like my retreat, because there's like all this foliage and there's these big windows. It's kind of reminds me of like the way big Burger King used to be, like, or Wendy's maybe, like how they had the glass overhang. Do you remember that?
Wendy's had that a lot.
Is that Wendy's?
Yeah. Dairy Queen.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a glass canopy.
Yeah.
So
big curve.
Yeah. So I would like retreat there, and I would every night I would record my vocals or write, and then or I would write in this like little, let's just call it a greenhouse. I would smoke a cigar and I would watch a manly movie. That was like my routine for like pretty much every song you listen to on this record. You can bank on it that I screamed that, and then I promptly went in the greenhouse, smoked a cigar, and watched some Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, or Die Hard, or it was just like the manliest stuff I could find. It was just like a funny like thing. Every night I was smoking cigars, watching Arnold Schwarzenegger shoot up,
Rambo.
Monsters and stuff. Yeah, Predator and Rambo. Yeah.
I tried showing my wife Die Hard like a month or two ago. We got about half an hour in. We got about half an hour in, and then it didn't end up finishing.
Well, you gotta wait till Christmas to watch that.
That's true. Maybe we'll try it at Christmas time.
No, it was cool though. There was a lot of like, it felt like a retreat in some ways, because there was a really cool like beach with sand dunes. We finished up the record and we like went to the beach, and it was just like really, it was really cool to kind of like get away from everything. Like service was bad. I'm kind of in like a bunker, like in the woods kind of a thing. So it was really cool, especially like having that like spiritual influence where you can detach and you can kind of have that retreat. I'm glad I got to experience that for this. So
that's kind of a good way to get the creative juices flowing, like kind of getting out of your normal environment and just being able to kind of focus on this, but then going out into nature like that seems like a good way to do it.
Yeah, kind of like putting our lives on hold to just immerse yourself into it, and that was like a really good experience.
Sweet.
That's awesome. Well,
we got the burning question that everybody wants to know.
Oh no.
What's that?
When somebody listens to this record, is there something that you want them to take away from it?
I was just saying, I can't ask that.
Well, I have a.
You don't have to answer it.
Well, I have promotional stuff that's written out, but I don't want to just read it word for word.
Yeah, let's hit it up.
I mean, I can just recite it, and it'll sound so not genuine, but I'll read it. This album is our most personal and introspective work today. It's about facing the darkest parts of ourselves and finding the light on the other side. We wanted to create something that resonates deeply with anyone who's struggled with loss, faith, and the quest for meaning. The fear of God is for those who need to know they're not alone in their battles. Each track on this album tells a story, whether it's about personal grief, societal downfall, or spiritual redemption. It's a journey we hope our listeners will find cathartic and inspiring. How was that?
Wow, I can't believe you memorized that.
Yeah, it all came to me. It wasn't pre-written, I promise.
You sold me on it. I'm going to go listen right now. And
That's awesome.
for those of you listening who haven't heard it, go and check it out right now.
Absolutely. One of the best Christian metal releases in years. Definitely of the year. It is incredible.
Thank you.
We love it. I love it so much. It's a great album. I've been listening to it absolutely nonstop. So just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, man. This summer has been absolutely incredible so far with release.
So good for the scene.
And like, this is just, I mean, it's not over yet, but like, this is definitely like a cherry on top, you know? It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, man. Like, you got KingdomCore, like, both you guys, like, have been such a big pivotal part in our journey too. Like, I know, Sean, you know, you've been with us for a very long time. Yeah, no, like, we really couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely,
you.
man.
Yeah, we love convictions around here. Anything you want to plug real quick?
I mean, it's shameless, but we talked about screaming. If anyone's looking to learn how to scream, I will teach you. DM me.
That's awesome.
But yeah, beyond that, the new record's out. You can follow.
You guys still got merch for the new record, or is that like a pre-order deal?
Let's look.
CDs.
This is a Zach question. He does.
I need to grab me a CD at some point here.
Yeah, you can definitely buy our CD or vinyl online. But we did exclusive merch for the pre-order, so I think it sounded like that's kind of what you're asking there.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we'll have merch inspired by our songs and the new record. But I don't think the pre-order merch will be available. That was just a limited thing.
Okay, thought so.
But yep, you can find our merch at convictionsrock.com.
Cool.
Sweet.
Go add this to your guys' playlist. Listen to the album. And what else? Share it with your friends. Post it on social media. Get the word out there.
Yeah. Let's get to 200K monthly.
There we go.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that is it for this episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. As always, we have our Patreon supporters we want to give a shout out to. We have our core givers, Jonathan Lyman, Frankie Blocker, Fabian Richter, Anthony Kuchma. As always, our true fan supporters. We have the Dead Pedal Coffee Company and Aaron Peter from Christian Metal Source. Go and check out Christian Metal Source. I used to be a part of it. Wonderful, amazing fellow. And thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, especially those we also didn't even mention. You can go and support us for as little as $1 a month, and basically just as a support. And yeah, we thank you all so much for being here and being a part of that. And as we mentioned towards the beginning of the episode, this is officially, we filmed one other episode that we need to edit, but this shows you how long it takes for me to get to these before we release them. We actually filmed this episode on August 13th. Today, I'm just finishing the edit. It is September 12th, so it's been a month, and it definitely was planned to be out at least a week ago, if not 2 weeks ago, but we have one more episode that we have pre-filmed before I head out on vacation, and it is official. My wife and I have bought a home, and we are moving in a matter of 4 days, I think. So the next 3 weeks especially are going to be very packed and filled. So yeah, I'll be around, but not much. And I will try and get that episode edited before I head out on vacation so we can drop that late September. And it's a fun one that I'm excited for you guys all to hear. So thanks again for listening. Thanks for being here. Thank you to Mike hopping on the podcast. And guys, go and check out The Fear of God by Convictions. All right. Peace. God bless. We'll see you next time.